Hello, I'm Mike Biselli, and this is episode number 1 of Passionate Pioneers with Mike Biselli. In this episode, I'm very excited to share with you why we're turning this podcast on, a little bit of my backstory, and what we plan to accomplish with this podcast, and most importantly, how you, our listeners, will be taking an active role in the community we will be building through this podcast. Welcome to Passionate Pioneers with Mike Biselli, where we highlight and speak with the innovators, the game changers, and the pioneers who are deeply passionate and relentless in solving the problems our world is facing today. This is your opportunity to connect with and learn from these leaders and to support them on their mission. Perhaps they will soon be hearing your story as well. This is Passionate Pioneers with Mike Biselli. I look forward to having you on this journey with us. It's time to dive into episode number 1 of Passionate Pioneers with Mike Biselli. Thank you for joining us today, and I look forward to having you along with us. I first want to start out with why we're turning this podcast on. Due to my mission and work in life, I'm continually surrounded by incredible leaders that are changing the world for the better. And I'm always amazed by these leaders and their passion and determination to bring their dreams to reality. And because I'm constantly surrounded by these leaders, you can imagine I have amazing conversations with them every single day. Think of leaders that are creating scientifically proven fall prevention technology for our elderly, or telemedicine capabilities to bring healthcare to rural communities throughout Africa, or deploying national campaigns to bring mental well-being to our youth. These are just some of the examples of the incredible conversations I'm having with leaders that are making our worlds better today and tomorrow. But now, I want to be able to share these conversations at scale through this podcast. But I also want to do something a little different. I want to have this podcast go beyond just creating content for you, our listening community, to consume. I want you involved. I want our listening community to take an active role in working with our guests and creating even greater opportunity for our guests to change our world for the better. So at the end of each show, we're going to ask our guests to share a problem, a need, or a question that they currently have, and for our listening community to then share with them their ideas to help our guests out. So at the end of this episode, I'll share a little bit more on how community can engage with our guests. If you've followed my work and mission, you know I'm deeply passionate about this idea of the power of community and the incredible achievements that can occur from this very simple notion of togetherness. And this is why I'm going to apply the power of community to this podcast as well. But how did I become so passionate about this power of community and togetherness? It first started when I was a teenager. I had a dream to earn a full-ride scholarship to play college football. And through the power of community, I was able to achieve this dream by playing and studying at Stanford University. I had an incredible community behind me to achieve that dream. Because a kid like me was not supposed to earn a scholarship to study and play football at Stanford University. But because of my incredible determination and deep commitment to achieve this dream, and the community around me seeing exactly that, we were able to achieve it together. I firmly believe without the community, when I was a teenager, I would not have earned that scholarship. You can imagine for a kid like me, these were incredible moments that I will never forget. And I'm always grateful for that community that helped me achieve those dreams. So then after hanging up the football cleats, I got into healthcare and haven't looked back. I spent my first 10 years in the medical device industry working with large organizations. One of them was an organization that was pioneering lateral spine surgery. And through a global community of innovators to bring this new procedure to market, we were able to achieve exactly that. And I was able to witness profound results for the patients that we served. It was an incredible journey with that device company. But then, in 2011, I jumped off the entrepreneurial cliff and haven't looked back. I noticed through my journey in the medical device industry how much waste there was and inefficiencies and opportunities to help streamline and make that industry more efficient through the buy and sell of the medical device implants that ultimately serve our patients and our communities. And so my co-founder and I built a digital platform to directly connect procurement managers and surgery centers with medical device companies and removing the sales representative out of the equation via this digital platform when that sales representative was not offering any clinical value to the facility, to the provider, and most importantly, to the patient. We launched that startup right here in Denver, Colorado, where I live. And we launched it in 2012, right at about the same time an organization called Prime Health was getting going in our community here in Denver and throughout Colorado. I was very fortunate to be one of the early members of Prime Health. Now you might ask, what is Prime Health? Prime Health is effectively the association connecting all of us across the state for healthcare innovation. From startups to academic partners, venture capitalists, to the incumbents and established entities that serve healthcare. We started coming around the same table to build this healthcare innovation community and cluster that we started seeing was coalescing throughout our communities. And so while building the startup and giving of my time to Prime Health, we did exactly that. We have now built one of the top healthcare innovation clusters in the entire United States right here in Colorado. It was a fun journey, and Prime Health continues to grow to this day. At Prime Health, we have our annual summit, as well as our annual Prime Health Challenge, where $150,000 is awarded to the startups and the host institution to power the pilot opportunities for the startup and the host institution. So as you can see, Prime Health is another form of community and togetherness. They have done incredible work throughout our state, and I'm incredibly proud to be a board member at Prime Health. But after launching our startup in 2012, we also joined a co-working space where a bunch of startups reside under one roof and work together every single day. That was the very first co-working space in Denver, and I was able to see the future, how these innovators and startups and entrepreneurs want to live, work, and play. And so through that journey from 2011 into 2012 and 2013 with our startup, I was able to meet incredible advisors and mentors, venture capitalists, as well as other entrepreneurs working on big, audacious problems. It actually helped us exit with our startup by the connections we made in that environment. Again, the power of community, the power of togetherness. So after I exited my startup at the end of 2013, I went to Mexico for the first several weeks in January of 2014. And I wanted to spend some time to think about what's next for Mike Biselli. What will I continue to do to make this industry better? I wanted to continue on this path of togetherness and community because I saw what it did for me as a teenager as well as in my professional and personal life as an adult. But I didn't know what I was going to end up doing. But I remembered my time in that co-working space with my startup and what it did for me personally and professionally. And so I thought about, what if we built a campus where we brought together the established players as well as the startups? Think of large health systems and payers, providers, academic partners. Even the patient would be involved. I thought this could be game-changing. Why? Because I noticed throughout my entire career and my journey in healthcare how disconnected this industry is. On one proverbial island, we have the entrepreneurs and the startups living. And then over on another island, we have the incumbents, the payers and providers, and our government partners and regulatory partners. And I thought, imagine if we were all in the same boat, rowing in the same direction. We could create a revolution for this industry that touches every single one of us in this nation, and that is bankrupting this country. Many of you know the costs are soaring and is not sustainable as an industry. And if we don't change course with this industry that touches all of us in this nation, I believe that the healthcare industry can put our country on its back. And so when I came back to Denver in February of 2014, I had these ideas of bringing all of these stakeholders under one roof. But I'm a healthcare geek and not necessarily a real estate guy. And so over the next several months, I was able to build a relationship with Coble & Company, a long-standing commercial real estate development firm here in the state of Colorado, working in our communities for over 60 plus years. And they loved the idea and the vision for this healthcare innovation campus. And then lastly, we needed the land to be able to build this campus. And both the developer and myself believed we needed to build it right in the heart of the River North District in downtown Denver. River North, or Rhino, was at the time an up-and-coming community, still being reimagined, and new ideas and opportunities coming to that district. And so in August of 2015, we brought our third partner on to bring Catalyst, this healthcare innovation campus, to reality. And that was the Burgess family, a family that has owned land in this district for many decades. And so again, in August of 15, we had the vision, the developer, and the land. And in October of 2016, we scraped the ground and began building this healthcare innovation campus. And the dream then became reality in July of 2018 when we opened the doors. Now, what this is and what this is not. This is not an accelerator for healthcare. We house those accelerators here at Catalyst. And this is not an incubator for healthcare either. We house those as well. And this is definitely not just a co-working space for startups. Because as I mentioned earlier, we need to have all stakeholders in the boat in order to reimagine this industry that is incredibly complex. We need to have the Fortune 100s and the health systems, the payers and providers and the patients, academic partners and associations. And so this is not just a co-working for startups. Yes, we have that, but that is just one piece of this overall campus. Catalyst is an industry integrator, bringing all aspects of healthcare under the same roof at the point of innovation to reimagine this industry together. From Fortune 100 all the way down to that woman with an idea on a napkin and everything in between. Private enterprise, government, academia, nonprofits, and again, even the patients are involved. As of this recording, we have now been open for just over a year, and it has been amazing to see the collaborations and partnerships that have occurred within the walls of this campus. Some examples of the collaborations that have occurred here at Catalyst include Nimble Science and SCL Health System partnering to bring their fall prevention technology to the elderly patients that they serve, or Kaiser Permanente and Cirrus MD working together to bring their text messaging and video capability technology to the patients that Kaiser serves, or Creo, our state's HIE, and Delta Dental working together. Or our Women of Catalyst group, a regular meetup group of our female leaders here on campus working together to continue to innovate and reimagine healthcare. Now, a question that I get a lot about Catalyst is, what do you expect to happen on this campus, Mike? And the best way I can answer it is, I don't know. And more importantly, it's not up to me. My dream of this campus was to build the best vehicle we could, this building and this community, and get out of the way and throw the keys of this vehicle to the members that call this campus home and let all of them drive us into a new future of healthcare. So how does that look in practicality? Well, we have built this campus and intentionally designed it to allow serendipitous collisions and interactions to occur, whether that be through our community cafe or restaurants on the ground floor, or our 300-plus person event hall, or our lunch and learns that our community members host and allow the other community members to attend and learn about what those community members are working on, or just simply walking down the hall and having serendipitous collisions with the other community members. Think about when you attend a conference. You typically go to that conference to meet other thought leaders in your industry and in your community, to network, to learn, and to create new opportunities for you and your organization. Think about those mechanisms and those opportunities happening every single day here at Catalyst in downtown Denver in the River North District. We now have leaders from around the world visiting us here at Catalyst, and then our community members get to meet those global leaders as well. It's amazing the collaborations, the partnerships, and the opportunities that are being created not only for the leaders that call Catalyst home, but for our visitors that are coming here daily. If you'd like to learn more about Catalyst, please head over to our website at catalysthealthtech.com. You can also see the growing list of community members that call this campus home. I hope you may be able to come and visit us here in the future. We'd love to have you come and check out the community and be a part of what's happening here. So as you can see, I'm deeply committed and passionate around the power of community and togetherness. And most importantly, I believe our society needs it now more than ever. And I hope that our work here in Denver and in Rhino and with our Catalyst project can be a beacon for the rest of this nation, that when we work together, we can move mountains. Which leads me to launching this podcast and having you, our listening community, involved. So how are some of those ways that you can get involved? In the show notes and in each of the episode notes, you will find a web form link to send your information and ideas on how to support our guests. And please know, we'll be taking your feedback very seriously. Once we share with the guests the information that you have submitted, it will be up to them to connect with you. But given the types of leaders that I know will be tuning in and collaborating with us here, I'm very confident strong synergies, friendships, and collaborations will form, and the power of community will shine through this podcast. I look forward to having you a part of Passionate Pioneers with Mike Biselli. Please do continue to give us your feedback and ideas on how to make this podcast and the community that we will build together stronger. Also, please let us know of leaders that you believe should be highlighted on this podcast. There will be ways for you to submit that content as well. Again, visit the show notes and the episode notes to submit those leaders for our podcast. I look forward to having you on this journey with this podcast. We already have some amazing leaders lined up to be guests, so stay tuned. Thank you for joining us today on Passionate Pioneers with Mike Biselli. We'd love to hear your feedback about the podcast so we can continue to improve this community and to further support the pioneers being featured. Lastly, please take a moment to subscribe to the podcast and invite your friends and colleagues to join us. This is Passionate Pioneers with Mike Biselli. I look forward to having you back with us during our next episode.